All right. Here we go. I'm gonna check one thing. Yeah, it's working. So, not a video I was intending to do, but it just really occurred to me. We're living in 2025, and in many ways, it's really difficult to stomach that we're actually fucking here right now. I look at the day to day living we go through, the kinds of people we see, this clown show we call a fucking world. And I think, Jesus Christ, is any of this fucking real? Like, are we really here right now? I can't believe how fucking dysfunctional this world is sometimes. So when a lot of people look at me like I'm weird, or they force feed some bullshit in the comments, or anywhere, I look at you like, who the fuck do you think you are? Look at this world you've enabled. And anyone questions it, and the first thing you do is look away, or tell them to be positive, bro. Well, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, cunt. See, we're not talking in a day-to-day setting where we're ideally doing something productive. See, if we were in an ideally productive environment, that would make sense. But that's not the case here. We're in a fucking circus, a shit show. And it goes on every single fucking day. The same people in public. The same women who misunderstands all men. The same ambulance sirens. The same crybaby bitches. The same posers. The same people bitching about the left. The same people bitching about the right. The same stereotypical NPC ripoffs of people. People have become very much one subject types of people where all they can do is talk and think about one thing. They're not very multifaceted. People are no different than malware, than advertisement, than spam sent your way. And it's like, holy shit, I have to block these people because they're so fucking incompetent and retarded and dumb that they're a fucking burden to our society, and it's just the social interaction is draining. I feel like I have to go sometimes months without talking to almost anybody but maybe a family member, and sometimes even one person is just too draining, too much of a detriment. Because the average people just are not very competent of anything anymore. It's not even just that. Most have ill intentions, and some don't even realize it and aren't even self-aware, which in my eyes is even more scary than the manipulator, because everyone's doing it. It's easier to be a nobody, to not be seen, but sometimes you can only go so long living in that level of isolation without at least wanting to share something you've done that's cool. Because you need at least one or two other people in your life maximum, I think, to function. But even sometimes that is too much. Even sometimes just a simple social interaction is too much. Because you're just left in regret, traumatized. Why did I waste my time on these posers? Why? The fuck why were these people born? Because there are so few people who relate, and then among the few, you find out that half of them are posers, that everyone you know is a fucking fraud. you know? And then people wonder, why would you become a devil worshiper? Why would you become dark? Why would you connect to external things and not the world around you? And I'm looking at this and I'm like, I would do that because clearly what people show me is nothing but the same. I'm not here for small talk. I'm not your fucking social worker, an advertiser, an advertisement. This is my motherfucking channel. I don't need to hear hi, 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 hi. Obviously, I'm not responding to you. I'm not giving you attention. That's why I keep removing you from the channel. So if you can't say anything constructive, get the fuck off this channel. Every fucking video. I don't know where these people come from. Are you AI? Are you spam bot? Are you ads? I don't know. But I'm so fucking tired of that. That kind of shit is why people get driven nuts, because you keep saying the same things like a broken record. Your script never changes. Your narrative never evolves. And then you wonder why you've got these psychopaths shooting up schools. That's why. Because nobody actually acknowledges them or ever hears them out. I'm trying to be somebody who gives an actual voice to people who are really on the edge psychologically, even if I don't always agree with their views. So I don't do all this small talk. I want to get to the real shit with people. When I see somebody, I look at what drives them. I look at, why is that person insane? Why is that person that way? But I don't immediately judge them. I actually try to see where they're really coming from. You know? Again, more people in the comments. They don't get it. Fuck off my channel or kill yourself, because you're never gonna understand it. If this video doesn't make sense to you, it's not supposed to. You don't belong here. Go to another fucking channel that will babysit the fuck out of you, because I'm not here to do that. That's not the left-hand path. See, the issue is you have to face the problem. You have to become aware of the problem. The hard part is the awareness of the issue itself drives you nuts and still deeply unsettles you, to where even a bunch of anti-stress medications, sleep gummies, CBD drinks, DHC gummies, all of that stuff can't numb the pain, can't put me to sleep, can't help me relax anymore. And what's even more unsettling is these people keep pushing Christianity in my comments, not realizing how fucked up that religion is, that that's actually created all the issues. I am forced to listen to the broken record day in, day out. The three most common comments: trash emojis, people saying hi, and people force feeding Christianity. This is a devil worship channel for a reason. And I advocate the genocide on your God and his people, except for the few people who actually want to learn, grow, and evolve. And I advocate that because, truthfully, throughout all of history, and I just watched a video by Perpetual Pleasures, and it's really true, most people aren't even having an original thought. They're on a clock wheel that's turning, and it goes from left to right to up to down, and that's the thinking of most people. At this point, for two reasons. One, I don't consider most of you to be even human, because you're not thinking originally. And in my opinion, humanity is supposed to be an origin of something. But I don't even know if I want to, because in many ways, even if you did have a human mind or a competent soul, as humans, we're supposed to be the most evolved mammal. it wouldn't mean shit. Because someday, sooner or later, humanity's gonna die out. And this isn't me going on a nihilist black pill manifesto, because most of the black pill channels are only succumbing to the victimhood of everything around them. But I'm trying to look at it practically, and I'm just like, in 2025, you're delusional for two reasons. You're either somehow successfully functional because you can somehow block out the entire external world around you, which feels borderline impossible to do nowadays because it's shoved up your ass in your face anywhere you go. Or you're the average dumb fuck, more likely this option. You're probably the average dumb fuck who is happy taking everything you hear up the ass and being a teacher's pet for the external world, which I find quite disgusting. And almost, I would be ashamed to be alive. I already kind of am in many ways, but I would be ashamed to be alive if I lived that way. Even more so. I would have unalived myself if I was completely that way. Truthfully. So, when everything is a broken record, when everything is a script that never changes, you know, when every one, I'd rather say, is malware on your computer, a prescript, an advertisement. This is the literal definition of an NPC in its worst form. This is your average person. We are forced to sit through, to put up with, to hear, to see. And in some ways, I'm guilty of this too, but not to the extent most people are, where people fuck up in the exact same ways on repeat over and over and over again. It's nothing but being a cog in a wheel, being part of a broken design, of a failed image, of a failed God, of a failed creation. It's basically, to put it politely, being retarded. Outright. It's like a retarded machine that can never fix itself but is somehow immortal and can never die. In psychological terms, that is like hell being recreated by the hell of an inner mind, a mind that is in hell. Being disabled, yet immortally living forever. The mind sustains for a prolonged period of time, yet you can endure and suffer mentally on end, endlessly, forever. And it never stops. It never fucking stops. You think you should be dead by now with the retardation you see that your mind has to process and compute and even acknowledge is real. But it just doesn't stop. It's like torture for the mind. That's like what I look at modern society is. It's more psychological than physical, because physically pain isn't shit. But I'm learning more and more over the years, psychologically it is. I even say, like, in weightlifting, the heaviest burden and heaviest weight isn't what you're actually lifting. Even if it's 400 pounds, even if it's close to 500, doesn't matter. The heaviest weight is the burden the mind has to carry. The burden of civilization and people's expectations and assumptions. No matter what, people are going to assume and misjudge you. Which to some degree is tolerable, but kind of, I can barely stomach that. But what's even more intolerable is the fact that they approach you. They want something out of you. And they misjudge you. And they try to emphasize it and flaunt it around like some flag they parade. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Every second now feels so long. So fucking long. Every minute. And then hours pass. And I'm like, has the sun fallen yet? I was supposed to be asleep during that time, but my sleep schedule is just thrown off because, you know, to be frank, we have so much going on right now around the world, but especially in the West now. Whether or not it's real or it's propped up to be real, something is happening. Whether we acknowledge it or not, so many distractions. And I know there's something bad that is really fucking happening and unfolding before our eyes. But what is it? You know, is it a person getting shot? A person in a train station getting killed? A person in Israel imposing laws upon us? Racial division, immigration, you know, what's happening right now in the West, the division between the opposite sexes that shouldn't be happening, the religious control. If any of us are ignorant in any of these areas, one of these problems grows more than the other because they're all coming in and closing in on us at once. And it feels like a box that we're fucking forced into. And it feels like the box is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller every day. Even if nothing appears to actually be happening. That's how it feels right now. Being alive. And it's kind of fucking terrifying. Because nobody's talking about it. Nobody's acknowledging it. Everybody's too busy, even if they are aware or unhinged. They're too busy blaming one side. And I'm not trying to advocate that people react. But at the same time, there is a problem people do need to react to. But whatever we're being told just isn't the complete truth, but it's definitely a part of it. And that's the scary part. Because there's so much confusion, I'm like, there's no fucking way we can ever unify on any common consensus that will actually make a good change. And I fear this is just another part of a larger scheme that's been fucking us up for quite some time. I feel like this is just another large scheme going down that we can't change. And it's times like this where I realize we really have control over so little of what happens in the external world. This is why I detach. But lately it's becoming harder and harder to detach. Because now I can't even go on the street without noticing people's driving patterns are different. Because that's how traumatized and phased right now people are by the recent events. I can't even drive on the street at night without noticing immediately people are driving differently in reaction to the event. That's how much it's impacted people. It seems like somehow people are as traumatized as they were in 2020 because the fear has gotten so much control over people. You know, people are that traumatized, but nothing that bad has happened yet, again. And it sucks to say that, but it's the truth. And am I personally scared in direct association with what's happened? Not necessarily, but I am kind of terrified of this larger picture. But what's more terrifying is a lot of the people who are enabling this are not going to be the ones who die. A lot of people think this is some sort of satanic agenda, but as somebody who worships the devil, I'm going to say that in many ways a lot of what's happening right now is just completely a disassociation from belief itself and further degradation into mundane living. We're really embracing the mundane. Religion's a big part of that, but it's not the only part of it. You know, I always say I hate religion, but find an alternative that's better. And I have many alternatives, but most people don't want to hear it because that requires actual competency and critical thinking. And nobody wants to do that. So, you know, there was a serial killer confession, and she talked about how she was glad to be executed because it means she would no longer be a part of Earth. And while I don't know the full scenario of why she did what she did, because to me it's a hit or miss. Does the news tell the full truth? Did she rightfully kill 7 people? What she was doing was already a shady business, but I can't judge and say for sure because I didn't even see evidence in the documentary of the people she had been claimed to kill. And when she's doing sex work, it's hard to say if not some men try to take advantage of her, and with as many men as she may have done it with, she may have actually had to kill 7 people, as crazy as that sounds. But that's not the point. The point is that I deeply relate with is the fact that she had said she was glad to be dead because she would no longer be a part of this earth. And while I don't advocate literal self-annihilation, if you're improving, if you're getting stronger, if you're able to, I don't advocate self-annihilation. But I do very much relate to her point about at least she gets to leave this earth, or so we think. That might be another lie. We might not get to leave this earth when we die. We might be reincarnated. But the larger point I want to emphasize here is when you see how many people are this pre-scripted, it's just nothing but a broken record. Humanity, this world, this universe is a broken record. And if only the record would break on a positive note and be stuck in that eternal loop, things would be making more sense. But this is a broken record designed to instill misery in you. We're in a broken record of misery, basically, playing on repeat. That's the and it's not some cool edgy kind of, no, it's just mundane as fuck. It's shallow. I don't know why, we're in this state. I would expect us to be either hyper evolutionary, hyper focused on growth and power, or in literal brimstone fire right now, or just something horrifying and terrifying, something maximally great or maximally horrible. But instead we're in this kind of half in, half out, spineless, just people are fucking spineless. A lot of people can't stick to or commit to anything nowadays. Everything is kind of bite-sized, watered down, minimal, shallow as fuck. That's modern people, A lot of them, they're kind of like decimal IQ, to be honest with you. It's very, very, just very repulsive. But that's just modern society, man. It's like, what the fuck are we looking at? What the fuck is this place? Who the fuck are these people? Who the fuck, Like, seriously, it's not even oh, we're in hell, oh, we're NPCs, oh, we're in the No, it's not even that. It's like, what I'm looking at day in, day out, it's just kind of disturbing. Like, I'm crazy. I'm insane in my own ways. I'm creative about it, I try to be stylistic about it. I try to be imaginative about it. But a lot of people in modern society, no, it's just, this is a fucking clown world. And I have to be honest with you, I think it was designed by a higher force to be deliberately so fucking boring and underwhelming, yet hyped up as big and bad. And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, it is so watered down and played down. It's not even funny. It's not even in the slightest funny. It's kind of disgraceful. But that's modern people. They will lie to the fucking death to tell you something other than the truth when you already know the truth and they're lying to you. And they'll still, to their dying day, lie. That's like the average fucking person with almost anything beneath the surface. With almost anything dark, anything critical, anything... No, modern people, they don't want to talk about that. And they'll be on their deathbed thinking it's such a personal thing. It's like, I already know you're lying. And you're fighting to the death to defend something I already know you're doing. Anyway, what the fuck? And that's the average person. That's some shallow shit. So, I'll have to block comments on my streams. I just can't put up with the constant retardation. I'll probably still outlet some of my thoughts here from time to time. But yeah, I'm gonna have to block comments on the stream for obvious reasons. Because a lot of fuck-ups who never should have been born, who frankly should have been thrown into the blender, are in these comments. So I'll have to do that. I'll still share my thoughts, but I'm gonna have to distance myself from more people again. And I already kind of do and have, but yeah, I'm gonna need more isolation to process this, because I can deal with it being in my own kind of box, whatever, fine. But psychologically, I also feel boxed in more and more. Like I have barriers pressing on all sides of my head at once from what I see and kind of the degeneracy. And it's nothing new necessarily. It is definitely worse now than it used to be, but it's nothing new. This has been going on since, in my opinion, the creation of this world, in my honest eyes. But it's definitely disturbing, and yeah, so I'll be doing that. I'll still be sharing my thoughts, but I'm gonna have to block comments for obvious reasons, because I just can't. I'm at a point now where I see something distorted, and it takes me weeks to process what I just saw, because it's so inhuman, yet it's not anything unique or cool or edgy. It's just inhumanly boring. Yeah, inhumanly boring. No, it's not inhuman in the cool sci-fi way. No, it's inhumanly shallow. Yes, people have become so shallow, so watered down now, so boring. It's inhumanly that way. They are inhumanly boring, inhumanly shallow, inhumanly docile, inhumanly lame. Yes, inhumanly. Subhuman, not better than human, subhuman in that way. And so that's kind of what I'm dealing with and seeing is subhuman level intelligence, subhuman level thinking. People are shallow in the most subhuman level ways. And I don't call someone shallow because they have a criteria or standards others have to meet that they're more than willing to meet themselves. No, that's not what I mean by shallow. I mean shallow by the depth of what they talk about, the depth of what they do, the depth of what goes on in any part of their life. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I don't judge somebody based on status. I don't judge somebody based on their wealth or any of those things, because I understand that not everybody needs that much to sustain. Some people's needs are very different. Someone might just need more friends, whatever. But from top to bottom, people are pretty fucking shallow now. You know, and it's kind of disgraceful that people are flexing about things they don't even have to make an impression online. I want to emphasize that. That's very distasteful too. And this constant money obsession, like I get why someone would want it, but having it for the sake of having it is just wasteful. That's also disgraceful as fuck. Too many people nowadays flexing, things that may have not even been genuinely earned in some instances. And even if it was, it's like, okay, what else is going on with you now? And people have nothing but empty titles, medals, trophies, validation. It's like, okay, that doesn't mean that you can break a brick wall with your bare hands, though. That doesn't mean you can do a double front flip on a spring floor. That last one I actually can do. That doesn't mean you can. The list of things that a lot of people can't do goes on and on and on and on. You know, and it's like empty titles after empty titles. I don't care if you're the prime minister bathing in jewelry. You're still a fat sack of shit. You're still a fat sack of shit. See, even the people watching, why are you watching this? If I just said that. I said I don't care if you're the prime minister bathing in jewelry. And you left? I say things at face value, people agree, and then I give them examples. They leave. Why don't you stay the fuck off this channel then? I make these videos more so I can watch them later, reflect on them. That's why I really make these videos. So, anyways, If you disagree with me, you can fuck off this channel. How about that? And I'm gonna make a setting where I block people from the comments. Because I'm so fucking done with that shit. Half of you probably know by now I want you genuinely dead. More than you could possibly imagine.